is on. Well, it's time for another lesson on you geniuses getting it to peak performance. I'm Dr. Deb Drake, and I welcome Margaret Mead as one of my guests today. I've also got a screen share to do with you, but I thought all of a sudden, we've been throwing an awful lot of information about the genetic changes in your chromosomes through adding light into the body over the last couple of years. It's time today for me to show you just how we can use a light emitting LED, which is producing PEMF magnetic therapy, and can be Bluetoothed from my tablet right onto my wristband so that I have portable, mobile, accessible mitochondrial ATP circulation stimulating sports production, facial improvements. I'm telling you, Margaret and I've been playing with this all night. Don't we look a little younger already? Margaret, thanks for joining us. Margaret, I just want you to introduce yourself. You're a light worker, a light therapist, and also a pretty much of a lightened spirit, shall we say. And I want you to just give the class a little tiny touch before we go into your PowerPoint, and then I'm going to give you a little demo on your case study. But, let's start right off on the bat. How did you feel being a consumer of many different devices over the last 20 years? I've known you as a professor. What do you think about the light therapy that we did on you last night, and how are you feeling today?
Well, today I feel actually very, very good. And specifically when I saw you yesterday, I was mentioning to you that I had a few areas of my body that weren't feeling completely perfect. So when we worked on them tonight, or at least last night when I got home and I got ready for bed, I climbed into bed and I thought, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. And of course, driving home from your home last night, I was feeling very, very good, not tired at all. And yeah, today I feel terrific, and my body actually does feel different. So I'm very happy.
Great. Can you put a finger on what's different? Are you more energized? Are you more relaxed? What do you notice about your general state of being?
I'm going to say in general, because I usually do feel pretty good, but today I'm feeling lighter, and I don't feel as, this is going to sound really weird, but my body, when it doesn't feel completely right, I feel agitated, a little bit agitated. And today I don't feel agitated at all. So I don't know if that's what you did. Probably it is, but that's how I feel today.
Well, we have been lecturing for a few weeks about lowering histamine lowers agitation. So as we worked on gut dysbiosis and some of your bioterrain issues, we were able to bring some of the histamine load down, and you probably slept a bit better without that histamine blockade. Would you say, how was your sleep last night?
Fantastic. In fact, I like to play my Audible book for about 15 minutes or half an hour before I go to sleep. And I usually find that lulls me to sleep. I don't even remember. I remember turning it on. I remember climbing into bed. I remember putting my head on the pillow, and that's all I remember. I don't remember anything else. So yes,
my success is your sleepiness. That's great. Well, for those of you who've been following along for the last couple of weeks, in anticipation of the Insight Health Apps is going to be releasing its next shipment of this coming in late October. So I'm trying to give you a bit of a heads up as to why you might want to jump on board, especially because there's a discount code for you early adopters. So I wanted to just refresh with a shorter, maybe a PowerPoint recap of where we've kind of been in the last couple of weeks there. I call this the Part 6 tutorial. Okay, let me just remind you guys, from the last couple of weeks, we've been really kind of wide angle lens on the issues of therapy for light therapies. And I also have been showing you that there's some other competitor devices, which also rank, not so bad, but the problem is that they have huge price tags. When we're talking about something under $1,000 rather than a $4,000 or $5,000 laser or a large, office device, I'm trying to show you ways that you can access self-care from home for the average person, okay? So today we're going to talk about light therapy, and we're going to do a tutorial on LED, or light emitting diode, PEMF Wearable, which can be recharging your mitochondrial, your ATP, and your circulation. So I'm just going to recap why we've been talking about this. Remember that I'm a doctor of many specialties, and I like the things that are fast, swift, no side effects, safe, easy to do, don't require a lot of supervision, and still get the job done, that you can use this for hours on your own self at home rather than spending hours of time in my waiting room, traveling to me, waiting on unnecessary blood tests that don't really give you accurate results. We're talking about a voice print that gives you super accuracy on the balance of your body at thousands of markers so that you can look at the total the totality of your body. And what better way to help the totality is with light, which moves through the bloodstream to the total body, through every organ, every lymph, every capillary. So I started out as a sports doctor, then I went into biochemistry and studied worms and biology and got all full of, the chemistry of life, and then tried to apply it in the world of medicine, sports medicine, trauma medicine. But all of those things took time, money, and were very invasive. When you think about how non-invasive this technology is and how deeply penetrating, it really is crossing that bridge between the ancient wisdom and delivering it through modern technology so that we can actually get access to the average person who doesn't have to spend a fortune or time or money or the risk of doing something more invasive, when we can do early preventative strategies that keep your body in good shape. So after I was a doctor, I went back and studied Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese auricular acupuncture, herbology, homotoxicology. I studied also light therapy as a frequency light matrix therapist. Then I got my PhD in bioenergetic medicine. And I can tell you that of all those things, biofeedback and light, it works so quickly. It works so beautifully. There's almost no negative person who's ever come to me after my therapy and said, I hate you, you done me wrong. And therefore it lowers liability, and therefore it makes us safe for us to use on our own families at home. So for the last 4 weeks, we've been talking about the light modalities and how light affects the chakras and the contraindications for, the body being too toxic and getting out of whack on the bioterrain graph. We then talked about the review of light on the sleep cycle and how sleep helps the half of the body clean at night while you're busy during the day, but you need to have that switch over, and that light can help in that switch. We also talked about the do's and don'ts of light therapy, which are almost non-existent. Apart from putting, a red light on somebody who's already hot with a high blood pressure episode or bleeding from the skin, you can use it on almost anybody, anytime, with any previous disease, or on any medication, bar a rare one or two in the world. So today I want to focus back on how do we use the clinical aspects as an anti-inflammatory modality, how using light can increase your ATP and your nitric oxide, which opens up blood vessels, which therefore puts more oxygen to reduce acidosis, which therefore reduces your DNA damage. So you have better collagen in your skin, you have better organ aging, you reduce the stress and exhaustion of that histamine response that's provoking inflammation or degeneration. And that's one of the major benefits of light therapies, is very anti-inflammatory. So it can be used wonderfully with sports medicine, anybody in pain, but anybody who wants to work on their skin or their general circulation, okay? Now, it also repairs the mitochondria, which I've been harping on, as you know, for weeks on end. The crystal battery capacitor that holds light by day redistributes it like a capacitor at night, and then spawns your stem cells to repair your collagen, repair your cartilages, repair your nervous system. So if you can work on the mitochondrial level, as I said, with zinc and light and the things that we've been discussing about bioterrain correctness and pH, your mitochondria will be better at repairing you as well. So by reducing inflammation, we'll reduce pain. And by improving the mitochondrial processing of energy, we're going to also improve the healing of wounds and help that, okay? So we have talked about monochromatic light therapy, which I'm going to show you today. We also talked about incoherent light, where it disperses. So on this wristband, remember, there's 20 LED lights that disperse the light, okay? 20 different LEDs that are in synchronization to give penetration and synchronize to the downbeat of the biofeedback. Now, there are more heavier lasers like infrared, near infrared lasers that create a lot of heat. Like Margaret, I know you know the iTera Care laser with the heavy duty infrared light, but it requires a high electricity bill and a lot of heat to run it, and noise. Whereas this is silent with no heat or no noise. You can walk out in the park on this with a battery charge for 4 hours and be walking around up a mountain and be using this. Now, the light therapy plus biofeedback can also be delivered, as we know, if it's a strong enough magnetic pumping signal. We call that PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field, which makes that pumping vortex of surround sound around you. So by combining the pumping action of surround sound with a perfect carrier wave of light, Now we can piggyback by opening the gates of the body with magnets and light. We can open the cell wall to absorb these frequencies better into our body. So that's where we can get even a lighter touch for a shorter period of time using light therapy combined with PEMF. We still get a lot of work done. Now, Margaret, last night, I worked on you for 30 minutes plus 3 plus 6 plus 9 minutes, right? So within about an hour, actually, I think you also did an extra 20 minutes near the end.
Yeah.
Of all your low areas.
Of all my low areas. And actually we did low and then we also did high.
Right. And then we did a combination of both low and
we did
high.
A combination of both.
And then we sealed you up with some aura and we closed you back down again, right?
Yeah.
So in an hour, I got done what normally would take me probably 2 or 3 hours on other devices that I use for manual dissection trays and different things. So it was very time efficient, I would say.
And very easy. I just lay there.
Yeah, wasn't it easy? I mean, there wasn't no fuss and no mess, so it wasn't intimidating.
Yeah.
You didn't worry about what was going to happen. You were curious. You embraced it quite nicely. Now, the other kinds of light, which are like the Bioptron light, has multiple lights or crystal masks or hot or cold lasers, but we talked a lot about that last week. So let's jump in this week to really talk in detail about the wearable cuff, okay? And I remind you that wavelengths can travel in analog or digital signals based on their frequency or hertz, and that the longer the wavelength, the lower the frequency, the longer it'll deeply more penetrate the skin. So this is why we've decided over the coming last couple of weeks that we like the red field of the red electromagnetic spectrum, which is visible to the eye. And we've chosen the red light to use for biophotonic modulation because it has the deepest penetration through the dermis and the skin to a centimeter deep, right into your capillaries and even into your bones, if you will. Superficial bones will take the light right in, okay? So by using that wearable, we're allowing people of any age to keep active while still modulating their peak performance strategies and reducing their pain, stress, while augmenting relaxation. Remember, these are the 4 areas that you have legally as a stress therapist. Pain, stress, relaxation, peak performance are the legal scope of practice for biofeedback therapists, okay? So the red light's going to go in deeper. But what if I could take the red light and piggyback on the yellow frequency signal and the orange frequency signal and the blue frequency signal? I can mix the sound and the light together by using the red carrier wave, but still having other frequencies on top of it. Do you see how the magic carpet ride can deliver this deeper? So now we have this chance of piggybacking all these different colors for different chakras as programmed on our chakra repair or our mineral repair on our tablet. We have all these different frequencies of different parasites at different frequencies, different colors or tissues or enzymes, minerals. They're all exact specific 6 decimal places of frequency. And we can use this palette of rainbow colors to piggyback through this magnetic delivery system. And now we can deliver the rainbow through a magnetic carpet ride. Do you see how wonderful that is? I mean, this is why I'm so excited and passionate, right? Now I get to do everything I want with no harm. First, do no harm, says Hippocrates' oath. Now, polychromatic light, it is incoherent and speeds wound healing, helps circulation. It improves your emotional support by using all these frequencies which match all the different chakras and the wood, fire, earth, air elements. It also helps a lot of skin conditions like acne. And by producing the normal, regular circadian rhythms, it can improve the sleeping cycle, as Margaret attests to, and it can also really down-regulate the adrenal stress, especially due to gut dysbiosis, triggering the gut and adrenal overdrive. So if we can bring down the gut dysbiosis in our bioterrain modules, then we can reduce a lot of the symptoms of insomnia and histamine problems and emotional problems. So this is not just for sports medicine. It is really great for emotional relaxation. And it also can piggyback the polychromatic light on the one color of light with other bandwidths given digital signals, okay? Do you understand that twist? You don't have to have multicolored lights here necessarily. You can have one set of lights with different frequencies piggybacked onto that carrier wave. So I'm going to suggest to you that we're going to use incoherent light, so it's blurred and not burning. We call this a cold laser, as we talked about last week. It doesn't create any heat on your wrist, right, Margaret? It wasn't burning you.
No,
it didn't leave an irritation. It didn't give a microcurrent that gave you irritated skin, for instance, okay? And we're also going to show you that as opposed to a coherent laser with all the wavelengths all in phase with each other lined up on top of one another, like a scalar wave therapy, which can penetrate fairly deep, but it can burn as well, right? Remember, that can go a mile in the sky to blind a pilot using a laser pointer as a coherent laser. But an incoherent light, through its slightly blurred, discordant other frequencies within that light, like sunlight, it diffuses out in a cooler manner. So this is why we call incoherent LEDs, we call them cold lasers, okay? As opposed to a hot laser, we've now got a cooler way to deliver the same amount of light, but without such bold, electrocution of the skin that you could actually cause a scar or burn a cautery of an artery with a laser tool in surgery. But we don't want to burn you. We want to soothe you like a rolling wave of oceans. And what does that do? Well, what it does is these three major things, okay? It eliminates pain through lipid absorption. The more we send lights and cold lasers, we warm up our flow, we get more absorption through our lipid membranes. Number two, it reduces inflammation by opening nitric oxide vasodilation pathways. Okay, so when the arteries are tight and stressed, they clamp down. When you inject light, the red blood cells repel against each other with a negative charge. They flow in the rouleau formation. The sticky blood breaks up. Now the oxygen can get better in the blood, and the oxygen opens up the nitric oxide, dilates the arteries. So now as the arteries dilate, more blood flow goes in, more white blood cells, more collagen, more fibrin, more elastin comes in to any wound. So the more circulation you have on a wound, the better it'll heal. Is that right? So the final thing is that if you can actually stimulate the cytochrome light systems in the liver and the ATP production in our red blood cells and in our mitochondria, these are the ways that we can deliver energy to the whole body. Now, most people forget this simple thing. A cell, in order to absorb any food, has to have a gate open called a sodium-potassium gate, which opens up to allow the glucose in. Now, what if your gates are magnetically stuck shut? By using light, you're giving the energy field and the extra photons to allow the gates to open more easily, and you're absorbing more food in easily and discharging poison toxins out of you better, okay? So by using the LED wearable PEMF, we're opening the gates magnetically, we're using the light for the penetration of nitric oxide and ATP production, and that's going to help all of the cells get better flow. Now, the best wavelength for this, apparently for penetrating the skin, is about the 680 nanometer wavelength, okay? 680 nanometers is close to, it's not quite, but zirconium diamonds are 624. And then 736, the note above that is niobium, the magnetic mineral that carries it. So somewhere in that magnetic light spectrum, that's where our bodies love the light to penetrate skin. Now, if we use these applications, let's think about where we could put this into use. You can use these cold LED lasers that use low intensity light to treat sprains, strains, and other tissues, injuries, contusions, bruises. It's a very relatively new process, but there's many advantages, especially because it doesn't require any incision. It doesn't require medication. So then you're lowering the risk of addictive pain medications, which are opioid epidemic doesn't need any more help these days. You can also use it to great benefit even with spinal health, because this can penetrate the bones right up the shafts of the legs, the arms, and whatnot. It also uses low-level near-infrared laser or red light to increase the areas wherever there is discomfort. So you could open up this and put it right on your shoulder if you wanted. So the benefit of that is called focused PEMF. There's regular PEMF, like on a mat, where it's diffusely, giving you a PEMF pulsing off the mat in a diffuse area. or you can bring the focus right to the point of injury, and you can put that right on your bruised knuckles or wherever that burn is or wherever you've hurt that tendon or ligament, and you can bring that closer to the actual original wound, which gives it another layer of versatility for coaches. Also, you need to know that it delivers therapy that reduces discomfort and pain, inflammation and swelling, and therefore it might actually help the wounds heal faster by getting more blood flow into the wound and bringing more collagen in. You know, the one drawback of this would be, some people would say, well, how long does it last? Well, the jury seems to be out on that, because every person is so different in their minerals to ground them, that if you are empty in the tank of resistance and minerals like I taught you for weeks on end, then you won't be able to capture the light and grab it. So for those people who are very low in thyroid, who don't absorb minerals well, or people who are full of parasites, who the parasites stole all their minerals, or for people who have zinc deficiency to run their stem cells and they can't repair themselves, these people may be more sluggish, take more sessions, take more often or longer sessions to do the same thing, right? But the benefit here is that this doesn't have any harm no matter how long you use it. I mean, it's like going out for a suntan. After an hour, you probably saturate, but it's not going to hurt you by going much longer. So there's basically a great advantage to this in using it in a safe way in many conditions, okay? The second thing I really want to talk to you about is the use of cold lasers in dermatology, in pain in sports, also in fibromyalgia, in dentistry. Okay, what if you got a toothache and you don't want to take drugs and you got an abscess there? What about putting light right into the bones of your jaw and helping use that bioterrain, get rid of that staph and strep abscess, so you don't have to yank that one molar you have left for chewing on? I mean, I'm not making promises or cures here, but I'm saying that there's no harm in trying this in any particular part of the body. Now, as I say, we can use it on sprains or strains. You can also put it on your low back or put it behind your shoulder, behind your neck, especially at the reticular activating system at the back of the neck. You can use it for carpal tunnel right over the wrist, both top and bottom, because there's different meridians on the top of your wrist as well as the bottom. You can use it for rejuvenating skin and the wounds, and also by stimulating the meridians, acupuncture through the wristband. You can get to distant wounds or deeper wounds by using the piggyback of the Genius meridian therapy right onto the light therapy, and getting magnetic acupuncture treated at a distant level, far away from the 3-foot radius of the light. It's going through your bloodstream right to the tip of your toes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Dentists, physical therapists, doctors, other medical professions are utilizing cold lasers for what we consider fast relief of inflammation and pain. It doesn't take 3 days of morphine and lying in bed with ice packs. It's pretty instantaneous as the rouleau formation of blood clots start breaking up. And I think that a lot of this may be helpful in the world of blood clot raging around the world right now after our pandemic issues going on with high rates of blood clots. Maybe this is going to be one of the great things that will help restore that blood flow. Finally, I'd like to mention that some machines are marketed as lasers to help you stop smoking, to lose weight, or to remove wrinkles. Well, we can do that because we can piggyback our Genius program on all of these metabolic repairs, or whatever we want in terms of changing the pesticide level or the heavy metals within you. We can deliver that through your wristband and help you get over the addictive worms that love alcohol and opioids and gluten and pizza and beer. Most people who have big tapeworms need to be fed a lot of gluten. They need a lot of beer for the boron. They need iodine. They eat a lot of potato chips because the iodine and iron in the chips. The parasites love to eat magnesium, so they're going to like chocolate. They love to have all the zinc from your nuts and seeds. They're going to basically want you to have a certain kind of diet. Now, what's happening is, as Margaret will attest, I think she'll tell me that I'm right, that her appetite is changing as we're changing her gut flora. She doesn't crave the sugar so much anymore. Is that right, Margaret?
Yeah, I've got a cupboard full of it. I walk in there, look at it, and turn around and walk out.
Yeah, because you weren't the one who had the craving for it. The parasites did. Now, Margaret's been a world traveler around the world in many countries, and certainly every one of us, however well we think we are, we all need a parasite cleanse, in my humble opinion.
And I'm going to attest to that, because honestly, Deb, the last few times now that I've been taking these pills, I'm starting to notice a huge difference in how, when I eat my food during the day, and how well it just runs through me. I've never really experienced that for years. I always thought it was normal. not to be regular, but now I don't have that anymore.
When I was 13, my aunt took me to a health show in Canada, and the guy at the front of the stage I was so embarrassed. I was 13. I was going, what is this guy talking about poop on the front of the stage? And he says, if your stool isn't this long and this thick, and he was like holding this up to the audience, like if it's not this long and this thick, you guys are all sick in the audience. And the whole audience started laughing nervously, going, well, who in the world has poops like that? But the fact of the matter is that constipation comes from opioid slowing of the bowel. Worms create alcohols and opioids and cause constipation, so that you end up having more manure in the chute longer, for which they have more area to feed on, for which they set up a colony of slime around the biofilm of your gut. So I just wanted to mention that there is another light frequency of the 900 nanometer set wavelength, okay, the near infrared, which is right where I told you about 1,000 hertz or so, is where light and sound, under 1,000 hertz, light and sound are sort of like a parallel matrix. The frequency of light matches the frequency of notes on the piano. That's called hertz to nanometers conversion. There is a mathematical formula I will spare you. But when you use the higher frequencies of light, which we can program into this as a piggyback, you can put the 905 frequency hertz or nanometers that they use in super lasers, and that will directly improve your nitric oxide to vasodilate your arteries and improve inflammation. And this has really been found by the THERAP company to be one of the most competitive wavelengths in the market. So if you want to look at that, using that by programming it into your Genius, you could put a 905 wavelength and see how you feel. And that it does increase the oxygen supply quite a bit and results in reduced inflammation, and it helps injured tissues accelerate their process back to normal with nutrient-rich blood coming to the injured site, eliminating toxins more quickly and products that are, that are difficult to get rid of. So I'm just going to remind you that the laser light absorbs into the mitochondria specifically by the cytochrome C oxidase system. Cytochrome, the word cyto means cell and chrome means color. So we have cytochrome P450 system in our liver, and it takes all poisons and separates them by colors and says, you're black, you're ugly, you're getting out, you're a bad molecule, you're spinning to the right of inflammation, versus you're a brightly colored rainbow item that looks like a good mineral to me. I'm going to bring that into my body. So there is what's called the first pass effect in pharmacology, where any drug of a foreign nature or foreign pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, poison, toxin, anything that's spinning to the right is recognized by the cytochrome 450 system, and it throws all that poison out of you. If you overwhelm the cytochrome system with no colors in your diet, no chrome, no cytochrome, no colorful minerals, you won't be able to deport all these toxins. So this will lead to a poisoning of your respiratory chain, which will lead to acidosis, which will knock all the pH out of your body and knock you down into a cancerous hole in the body where you're not of the right pH, right? So we know that anybody who improves their nitric oxide and modulates down these reactive oxygen species called free radicals, we can basically prevent the aging process from those free radicals chewing on our chromosomes, denting them out of shape, chewing on our bones, causing osteoporosis, chewing on our cholesterol, denting it out of shape and making it stick to our arteries. So the more we get oxygen in, the more the poisons can leave the scene, or as we say, light overcomes dark, okay? So in general, I want you to just sort of memorize these major sort of 10 or 9 things that cold and hot lasers do. They repair the body through reducing inflammation. They increase angiogenesis. That means blood vessel development. They make you spurt up new capillaries. They help with neovascularization around a wound where you fractured. You have to grow new blood vessels in there, right? To reform and heal any wound. It increases collagen production for the 6 kinds of collagen supporting your the spider web that holds your brain up, your collagen in your nose, the collagen in your skin, the collagen in your tendons, the collagen in your guts. They're all different kinds of collagen, and you need a multiplicity of light to produce natural collagen within you. And you can increase cartilage production. So imagine the anti-aging process of these premature arthritis of the shoulders, the hips, the knees, all the baby boomers going for bilateral knee replacements in my circle of friends right now. And we need to also remember that keeping ourselves upright with good posture keeps the lungs pumping better carotid artery to the head. So keeping muscle regeneration for posture, reducing muscle wasting as what happens with TNF alpha and infections as we age, increasing nerve regeneration. I mean, that's all we're looking for, right? All the people with Alzheimer's just can't regenerate their nerves anymore. And finally, we want that bone power of increased bone production by having enough raw materials and free radical reduction that doesn't leach out the calcium out of the bones to go to an inflammation cascade. We're putting the calcium back into the bones. And for the last few weeks, I've been reminding you again, PPP, parasites in the pancreas cause parathyroid loss of regulation of your calcium, dragging out of your bones, running off to some inflammation. We want to reverse that by putting the calcium back into the bones with a good, healthy thyroid and telling those parathyroids to just relax a bit here. So if we use all the colors of the rainbow by using many modules for mind, body, and spirit on our Genius program, we're actually sending in variety of minerals at those frequencies. We're sending in variety of enzymes at different frequencies. We're sending in a variety of hormones at different frequencies. We're sending in a variety of different neurotransmitters at different frequencies, but they're all being piggybacked in on the light to get deeper into the body with the lightest touch. So we first do no harm. So just remember that we're really just piggybacking one therapy onto another by using the unusual property that light and sound match each other in the spectrum of 1000 hertz or below. Now, let's show you how to wear this thing on your body. Of course, you can wear it over your skin because light passes through garments and so does magnetism. So you actually can wear this outside your clothes. That's how amazing magnets are, okay? That means that you could even put it under your pillow, I figure, or a pillowcase and have it broadcast into your head. If you had a child who couldn't sleep or something, you could use it in that way. Now we're going to deliver the frequencies that go through not only your blood vessels, but your lymphatics and your light meridians. So the instantaneous effects of swelling may be quite amazing. People often tell me they urinate a lot because they've stimulated their blood to pass through their kidney more. Margaret, did you notice that? Yeah. You can also piggyback the quantum tunneling effect by piggybacking other frequencies. That's called the quantum tunneling effect, okay? You need to look that up if you don't understand it. And the light therapy creates absolute positive coherence and constructive waves to support the body's form and function. And it can be instantaneously delivered through the bloodstream into the heart and then pumped around the whole body. So those frequencies are widely disseminated. Now, the Infinity Health app Biophotomodulation Wearables, which we call the LED PEMF, okay? It says it right on there, Insight PEMF LED. That's what you're looking for, okay? The Insight PEMF LED, and it basically can be combining frequencies with portability, customizability for the programmability of your Genius. It's time-saving, it's mobile, it's accessible, it's versatile. It works both on a Genius app on the phone or a tablet. You can also use it on the Odyssey program, I believe. Audacity, is it? Sorry, the Audacity program. And then you can use it on the sub-menus for targeting care for coaching. So you can actually have a client use this wristband at their house. You send them a quantum cap program and they deliver Bluetooth to their wrist at home. Can you imagine how many clients we could have worldwide getting better in their own kitchen, watching their own kids at home and not spending that type of money, getting personalized, customized, exact, low radiation, coherent frequencies put into them. I should say incoherent frequencies, but there's a coherence of the synchronicity. I don't want to confuse you with the terms. This is actually technically incoherent light, but it's coherent with your frequencies of the tablet. So it's in sync. Finally, we're triggering the pulsed electromagnetic field that builds up your resistance to disease later. Once that vortex is established on its pumping pressure, you're not likely to fall down so easily, are you? You're not likely to be clumsy and get injured on the track when you're running as easily, are you? You're not likely to have a poor appetite with parasites stealing the zinc from your athletic performance so you can't jump out of the starting blocks with a great sprint. You're going to be combining slowly a thicker and thicker skin that gets more and more resistant to disease, more resistant to injury, more resistant to inflammation, more resistant to degeneration. I'm making no claims. I'm disclaiming that I don't cure you. I just balance your bioterrain and your body will come into its own self-protective mode, okay? So what I wanted to mention here is that it is safe. It doesn't burn the skin. It has the wavelengths that best penetrate the skin using the red light. It delivers a triggering mechanism through magnetic triggering of all the meridians through the whole body and can be using a low range of frequencies for the brain, a mid-range of frequencies for the heart, or a very high range of frequencies for the gut and the vagus nerve, covering a very wide spectrum, okay? So this is one of the advantages that we could use this versatility. Unlike some other devices, which are always designed for only one bandwidth, this has a very wide bandwidth, okay? And it's got class 2 medical device approval stating that it's safe for use, okay? So in a nutshell, coherent lasers are in phase with each other. That's called a hot laser. An incoherent LED light is a cool or cold laser, okay? And that's why we're using this infrared LED for improved blood flow, oxygenation, reducing platelet clumping. It enhances your antioxidants by pumping in hydrogen into your body, stimulating collagen production for tissue repair, and it enhances the entire circulation at physiological levels. So it can't overdose you, okay? It can't give you extra performance like doping in somebody using fake steroids to get pumped up. It's using physiological levels. So it's not illegal for sports athletes. They're not using drug doping and they can perform in their natural sports without being excluded for using a performance enhancing drug. Mm-hmm. It also has no major side effects, and it basically builds up your energy induction with hundreds of millions of biophotons of light. For every one biophoton of light in the mitochondria, it triggers 100 million reactions in the dark during sleep to refurbish the electrons to the DNA, to make better proteins and collagen, to repair you while you're sleeping. So the effect of this doesn't just end at the end of the day after you've taken this off. All the absorption of photons that you did all day is now at nighttime being redistributed through the whole body for fantastic anti-cancer protection. So, you know, when used regularly, you can comb through many parts of the body. As you know, on the Genius, you can dig into deeper dives on things. And you can use this for the mind repair, body repair, emotion repair, biofield repair. And I also want you to really take a serious attention to the bioterrain library that I've put together for you for the Genius, that has all with Denise Armenio's library and my mindset. We put together 30 modules to clean out your gut for metabolic problems. Now, Margaret, I do want to get over to a little demo on you, but I do think that you're a great case where you've done everything right. You've eaten all the right foods and vitamins and minerals and light therapy, PEMF, and you're still struggling with your metabolism.
Yep, I am.
So what would you say that you learned most of all last night that was the cause of that?
Oh, that's a tough one, Deb.
Well, wouldn't you say that your gut was actually challenged by some invaders and that everything else on your scan looked quite excellent?
Yeah,
in fact,
yeah,
let me pull it up for the class. I'll show you last night's scan, folks. We got 20 more minutes. I just want to show you what I might do with a case like this, but I just wanted to remind you that you need to tune and tone yourself regularly with this technology. You don't need to do everything all on the first visit and then the person goes home and they have a great big 3 days of aha, wonderful, but then they crash back down because they can't maintain it. You need to actually do a little rowing across the pond regularly to build up that electronic muscle, that brain muscle, okay? So try to deliver this to your clients on a regular basis. Do it 2 or 3 days a week. Rest about 70 to 90 hours in between to let the body's reflexes come back to normal. You've redistributed all the light. Now you can suck up another bit into another dry sponge, as opposed to you trying to redo this again on yourself when you're saturated with light, saturated with magnetism, and now you want to do this again in another hour. Well, what bus seat is empty in your electrons bus around the body that can still take any more new electrons yet? You have to let that bus deliver those electrons to the end organs and out into the community. And then when that empty bus comes back in 3 days from now, it's ready to absorb another light ceremony, okay? So professionals can use this, twice a week with their clients, or they can send that remedy to the quantum cap and the clients can use it, and you might want to say to them that they may want to use that therapy every single day for a whole week because they paid you for a week's therapy. Now, even if they did that, as long as they're not overdosing it and making them feel sick and Herxheimer reaction and flu-like illness and they can't handle it and they got diarrhea, Dan, you got to check in with those people to see if they're managing this, because if somebody is terribly ill, they may not be able to handle that every day. Only the athletes who are used to it and work their way out of the ditch and are on the top of the mountain, who use this every day to recover after sports fitness, might need that. So every person is unique, okay? Don't force your opinion on somebody. When they say I've had my limit, you got to back off. Now, remember that you can get this on sale in our pre-launch price for $100 off. And when it comes out in late October, it's going to be $7.99, but you can save that $100 now and use that towards buying, say, for instance, the bioterrain library project or something else that might be useful to your repertoire. Okay. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, or maybe I'll put that in the chat box. This is, sorry, one more. That is the website for the new information on that setup. So let me just take a step out of that PowerPoint and I'll put that in the chat room, okay? Control copy and pop over to chat box. This is the Insight LED PEMF. There's the link for you there, okay? So at the end of today, I do want to suggest, Margaret, that after seeing this, I'm going to invite you to consider taking our free 2-week trial of the Genius app.
Yeah, I'd like that
Would you be
very
willing to
much.
try that out?
I would be, absolutely, 100%.
I really appreciate your professional income in your comments. And if there's other things that you think that we could do better, or if you like it and how it's doing on you, you might want to work on your gut dysbiosis for a couple of weeks and see what the improvements are in your measurements, your body's energy levels, some of your vital signs. And, maybe you'd come back into my class and report to us how you feel after the trial of that in the coming weeks. Okay.
Okay. I will do that.
If any of you are new, you can go to insightshealthapps.com. My affiliate number is affiliate equals 16 number. If you want to get that, or come to the person who invited you to this meeting, who is a distributor, or if all of you are already distributors, go and get yourself familiar with how you can use this as a marketing strategy to bring better tools to your tribe, and see where you can expand yourself to getting, some better education and tools so that you can expand your own repertoire. Now, all of you know that I teach on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. here in our ilovemygenius.com website. I just wanted you to be aware that for the last couple of weeks and months, I've been recording lectures. So Kayla has been a gem of a doll to put this together for me in these packages. So we have our magnetic course now wrapped up in there, where I gave you the discussion of all the theory on PEMF and how to use it. We talked about the bioterrain class on how to get your guts in check and why and how. And then we also had the voice analysis and how to interpret that. And after this week, we'll probably have another course coming up here called the Light Biophotomodulation course. So if some of you have missed my previous lectures, I strongly recommend you watch these and get yourself up into really good knowledge base, have, knowledge on how to use your technology, have the knowledge of the theory, so that when your customers come to you, you can answer these questions. You look like a pro. And of course, I am a doctor that gives study credits. So if you feel like you want to get continuing education credits for these courses, then you can use those for, whatever other professional development course you need to have some ongoing training each year. Okay. So on that note, I'm just going to leave there just my contact number. If some of you don't know how to get other educational materials, you can visit my website, healthcounts.ca. And I also ask you to visit the Insight Health apps and I Love My Genius all courses or events, where you can see these live Tuesday meetings under the events button. And if you need to look at any other nutritional products I speak about, which is the zinc-rich moringa or the immune response stack with all the quercetin to clean out you from any risk of pandemic risks, etc., and get your immune system up to power. Or if you needed the Sleep M products, I put the ID number there if you wanted to buy some of those crystals we talked about. So on that note, I just want to say thanks for watching this tutorial. What do you say we maybe try to switch screens? We've got a few minutes left. Should I open we've got 10 minutes left. Should I open up any questions before we go too far here?
Yeah.
Let me just go back up here to is the cold laser limited to licensed healthcare practitioners? Not at all. Limited to anybody who wants to use it at home because it's so safe. So you don't have to be a laser practitioner. But remember this, when you use this on yourself, you're self-consenting. When you use it on somebody else, you need $1 million of malpractice insurance in case they drop dead for no apparent reason and their family just happened to blame you because they fell in your waiting room when they had the accident. So if you're a coach in a professional capacity, charging money for your services, you should have a consent form and you should have a payment schedule that's up on your room so it's visible. You can have your diplomas on the wall and you can say that I bear the responsibility professionally by having insurance to back myself up if something should happen. Now, luckily, I've never seen anybody have that problem with biofeedback in 20 years of working, but there's going to be a case somewhere along the line where somebody's going to say, you done something bad to me. So when you're doing it on others, we usually don't sue our family members, which is why most people are doing this within the circle of their own family. But if you are putting your shingle out as a practitioner, I think you should make sure that you have the proper credentials and training and whatnot to do so, okay? Is this able to assist hearing loss? Well, hearing is a very interesting thing, and I'm a doctor of 25 years specialist in noise-induced hearing loss. My previous company called CERT Communications, Inc. I worked with Karen Vi, the noise-induced specialist of Canada, who really did show me a lot about how to repair the hearing. And I can tell you that biofeedback, after about 45 minutes of therapy, people are getting their hearing back. Now, I can't say it's always 45 minutes, but a man got his hearing back after 40 minutes, and a young deaf woman, after being deaf since the age of 8, got her hearing back after 45 minutes. So I think we need to have it a little longer to allow the nerves to get the signal to go further down the road. Oh, I got through to the switchboard again. So if there's somebody's already got ringing in the ears, they could be aggravated by such a therapy. If they have a hearing aid or a cochlear ear implant, you better be careful, because they could blame a worsening of their ringing on you as you're killing their tapeworms, which ring in the ears, or their ear is connected to the kidney. So when you're working on people's kidney infections, their ears could be ringing. So be careful, use it in small bits, work up, see how it goes. Be careful not to worsen the situation. And I say start in the gut, because the gut releases celiac antibodies, that attack the hair cells of the ear. So every person who is deaf is a celiac disease until proven otherwise in my books. And everybody who's a celiac who's attacking the hair cells of their ear is probably attacking the hair cells of their gut too. So look for H. pylori gastritis, look for salmonella, look for pyrogenium food poisoning, look for sushi flukes and parasites, look for pinworms or E. coli in the kidney, or Klebsiella, or prostatitis. These are the things that make people's ears ring that is distant to the wound, but it's because their vagus nerve is going, doesn't anybody hear me down there? I'm aching, can't you hear me? Now, sometimes it's just postural, where a person with tight neck from worms will pull up on the 8th cranial nerve. Remember your anatomy. The 8th cranial nerve drops down to the C4 vertebrae, connects over to the 10th and 11th cranial nerve and then zips back up. So there's a 3-way loop of hearings, voice, sound, and it's all connected at C4 vertebrae. So if somebody's ringing in their ears, please adjust their neck to C4 potential so you aren't kinking the nerve here. You can't believe how many miraculous recoveries I've had by just adjusting their neck, not their ear. Okay, I hope that does it. Can this be applied to the ears? Yes. Eyes closed. The difficulty I have is that magnets might change the coagulation of the eye. I don't know for a fact because I use the bioptron light right into the eye because they say that it doubles the parasitic kill and the DNA repair if you look right at the light. So I'm going to have to, I don't know, what's everybody say? Can we have a vote? Is the light safe in the eyes directly? If you're not, when in doubt, put it over the forehead here or on the pineal gland or on the occipital cortex back here. You're still going to get the blood to the back of the retina, right? I'm not totally sure yet, so I'm going to be cautious when I'm saying this in a public domain. We don't have the actual statistics to say yes or no, it's better off if it's whatever. But, you know, the third eye being here, I'm sure that somebody's going to put that on a headband and try it on their head. We need an extra long Velcro strip to put it around your head. Okay, what about better to use natural fabrics like hemp and bamboo with LEDs? Yes, that's true. And the best fabric of all is linen. Linen has a positive 5,000 nanometer light score, and wool has a minus 5,000 nanometer light score. So that's why light workers put what do you call it? A wool hood over them. The magicians wanted to hide their light. Plus 5,000 light hidden by minus 5,000 hood.
Margaret, it looks like
Can you hear me?
out.
Here
Yeah.
she is. Yeah,
Margaret?
she's coming back again. Yeah.
I've lost my connection out of the conference room, so I'm not sure if I should sign back in or try to share your screen here. I don't know if you can hear me properly. Can you?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, let me take a quick second here and just
Share the screen. Do you want me to share my screen for you, Deb? Oh, she's gone again. She lost the connection on her screen, so she's just working on that. There you are.
sorry, folks, I'm not sure what happened there, but seems like I had a little technical glitch in the flip over. So, Margaret, I'm going to ask you to not be a co-host, and I'm going to change the co-host to my tablet.
Okay.
I don't even see my tablet on the screen anymore.
Yeah,
You see Drake in there?
I'm just going to look for it. Maybe it's on the second page.
Don't see myself. We're coming up on the top of the hour, folks. I think maybe there might be a stopgap on my room because someone might have to use the meeting. So I think perhaps next week I'll come back and do a full screen demo on this. And I'm going to just ask Margaret to come back next week if she wouldn't mind, and we can readdress that. I just want to thank everybody for your close attention today. And if there's anything else that I can do to help you out, just let me know. Call the support at Inside Health Apps. Come to our trainings. Learn how to use your technology to the best advantage. And I really just am so grateful and appreciative of all you coaches out there in the world. Just think how many people you're affecting. If each one of us affects 1,000 people just in our mindset, and you go out and help 100 people and coach them, then suddenly we could be helping thousands, if not millions of people worldwide as this new age of Aquarius proceeds. So thanks so much, folks. I want to thank you all for participating today. I'm going to say goodbye and thank Margaret for joining us. Appreciate your help, Margaret. And if there's any other questions, hit me up in the chat box. I'll put our little PowerPoint in the chat box after today, and we'll put the YouTube clip up there as soon as it's rendered. Okay, folks? I hope today went well for you. And if you liked it, put a 1 in the chat box, unmute yourself and say goodbye to all your peers. And we'll say goodbye for this beautiful day in October. Hopefully we'll meet up again next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deb.
Bye for today. Thank you.
Thank you all, folks. Great to see you. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.